Hello, my beauts. I hope you're all doing amazingly wherever you are on the planet. I'm Diana Mao, and welcome to my channel for this very last reading of the year, where we're going to be taking a look at the energies for December the 30th and the 31st, which of course makes this a particularly magical time to be seeding those intentions for 2025. Honestly, this is such a magical and potent way to be closing out the year with this Capricorn new moon. It really gives a sense of providing us with a real springboard into 2025. So new moons are the time of the month where we seed our manifestations, we sow our intentions for the month ahead. And Capricorn being a sign of longevity means that this month we can orient and envision our goals, not just for the month ahead, but for the entire year. So this new moon is taking place at 9 degrees and 44 minutes of Capricorn. So wherever you've got Capricorn at 9 degrees and 44 minutes in your chart is going to be the area that you're being called or invited to seed these new beginnings. And I will be giving a brief rundown of all the 12 signs or all the 12 rising signs at the end of this general report. So do stay tuned for that. Now, Capricorn is a sign of structure, of determination, of practicality, of responsibility, of strategy. It rules the 10th house of career, of personal mastery, of public recognition, public reputation. And it's an earth sign, so it really encourages practicality and perseverance. So you might well think then, well, with this Capricorn new moon, it's a perfect time to seed my intentions around my career, right? Which could be the case, but not necessarily, because as always, it is going to depend on your unique birth chart, which is, of course, unique to you. And more generally speaking, along with everyone else who shares your rising sign, it is going to depend on the house in which the new moon falls. And as I've said, I am going to be doing a brief rundown of all the 12 rising signs after this general report, so stay tuned. Now, conjunct this new moon in Capricorn, we're also going to have asteroid Pallas Athena, who's going to be bringing through her strategic insights, her strategic wisdoms, her ability to problem solve, but in a very creative way, and her ability to plan also with foresight. So this really is such an opportune time to be really making to really make these strategic new beginnings. This is the word that keeps on coming through all the time right now, strategic. It's a time to really plan with foresight and to think things out carefully, to plan with careful consideration with a view to moving forward. Meanwhile, we do have a square between Venus and Uranus, and this implies that there might be some sudden shifts that come through in the areas of both relationships and finances, or either or both. And of course, these could be relationships, they could be any kind of relationships, they could be business partnerships, they could be romantic relationships, they could be friendships. So around about this time, then you might feel called to take stock of things, to completely reevaluate things or matters in these two arenas. You might feel called to make changes or readjustments where needed. But just know that no matter what, whatever readjustments you're being called to make, whatever reevaluations, large or small, you're being called to make, whatever sudden shifts the universe presents you with, are simply paving the way for your greater freedom and your greater alignment. So with all of this said then, let's dive in and look at the chart. And as always, if you're enjoying this content, then please do give me a thumbs up, subscribe, drop me a comment. I would love to hear from you. I'm currently putting out content for both the new and the full moons every month, and there will be more stuff coming through next year, so you won't want to miss out. Okay, let's go. Okay, so here we have the new moon at 9 degrees and 44 minutes of Capricorn. And as always, at the new moon, it is exactly conjunct the sun. So here we have the sun in Capricorn at 9 degrees and 44 minutes. And the new moon is the time of the moon. When the illuminated side of the moon faces away from the earth, and of course, it's directly next to the sun, and the sun's light is very much diminishing the much, much dimmer light of the moon. So this makes the moon seem almost invisible to our eyes here on the earthly plane. And so then this alignment of the new moon. It signifies and it mirrors to us that, as we know, this is the time of the month for new beginnings, for new intentions, and for fresh starts, fresh projects. And this is because the energy of both the sun, which represents will, ego, vitality, and our consciousness, our conscious awareness, and the moon, which represents our emotions, our intuition, and our subconscious, they are both concentrated in one place together. So, this is the divine union right here. It's the alchemical marriage of the sun and the moon, of the masculine, which is the sun, and the feminine, which is the moon, of the light and the dark, consciousness and the subconscious. So then, this is why the new moon is known to be the time of potential and possibilities. It's the time where we can breathe life into our dreams. And grantis means to reflect and and to pave the way forward with intention. It's really the time that is ripe to seed and gestate in the fertile womb of our subconscious with our conscious intentions. And in manifestation, this is always a process that yields results. Although, of course, do also bear in mind that if you have a lot of old and repressed and hidden stuff in your subconscious, then this stuff is absolutely going to be running the show on the level of what you manifest. Our subconscious or unconscious desires, they always take precedence over any conscious desires that you seed. So, I mean, this is why doing shadow work is so, so important, or shadow play, as I love to call it. Uh, and yeah, this is also why being so intentional about workings, about the intentions that you bring through and the workings that you initiate, this is actually always so helpful. Even if you do find yourself scuppered by any shadow material that keeps popping up over and over again, then you know what you need to work on next. And I think this is just the best news, really, in the sense that there are no failures or mistakes. They're just opportunities to learn and to be given the next heads up on the journey as to where you need to put your attention next. So it's always good news, isn't it? So on this note then, the new moon phase, it's really the time to explore the subconscious and the inner self. So around the time of the new moon, it's always a really particularly potent time for meditation, journaling, any other practices of introspection that allows you to connect to your inner world and to the parts of yourself that perhaps aren't always attended to in daily life, where oftentimes you are more led by the conscious mind and by what's going on around you. Now, the new moon being in Capricorn, this is a really industrious, determined, and really hard working energy. Capricorn is just brimming with disciplined ambition, and so it's really inviting here a lot of grounded and strategic thinking, a lot of grounded action and strategic management. And with all of this said, we really have a double dose of this energy because as we see, there's a conjunction from the new moon to Pallas Athena, now at 11 degrees of Capricorn. And this aspect to me is further encouraging the alignment of creative intellect, which is governed by Pallas, with our tangible goals, which is very Capricorn. So it's encouraging disciplined planning. What do you want to achieve in the long term, and what structures? That's very Capricorn. What structures are going to help you get there? I mean, Capricorn is already strategic. Ask any goat who's navigating a mountain. And Pallas here, this conjunction just gives this energy that extra bit of clout. Now, Pallas Athena is the ancient Greek goddess, and she's known for her role in many, many myths, including her involvement in the Trojan War as a strategic advisor. So she's often portrayed as a protector of cities, particularly Athens, which is of course named after her. Now, Pallas Athena, she symbolizes rational thought, justice, skill, and she really embodies this ideal of a warrior with, this really heightened intellect. And in astrology, of course, she's a very powerful influence in various aspects of human experience. So, needless to say, she's associated with wisdom and insight, strategy and planning, creativity and the arts, as well as liberty and justice. She represents analytical thought, intelligence, and the pursuit of knowledge. And I see her role as very strongly in guiding individuals to approach challenges with a really calculated mindset and a real ability to foresee in a strategic way. So, calculated mindset and foresight is what she brings through really strongly. She's also associated with feminine strength. This in myth is an incredibly powerful female figure. She was birthed from her father Zeus's head, fully armored. So in the chart, she also symbolizes strength, autonomy, and empowerment of women. So she also serves as a role model for independence and self-reliance. However, in my experience, looking at Pallas in the chart, she can also symbolize where we are not allowing our feminine energy fully. So I find this so interesting. So perhaps in this case, then, where we are so caught up in the plans and the goals, the intentionalized goal setting. Remember, Capricorn is very, very goal oriented. It's possible, very possible, that our more intuitive, body-based creative flow and our ability to nurture, which obviously these qualities are so important in the gestation process. It's possible that they get somewhat squashed, yeah, in favor of the structure and the order, which Capricorn loves so much. Capricorn is all about that. So taking all this into account, then what I'm feeling here is that yes, tune into the gifts of Pallas Athena here. They're absolutely precious, but also Capricorn is an earth sign. So, like, do stay connected to your body, your emotional body, as an overload, as a general overload of this very calculated, goal-oriented energy can keep you more tuned into the masculine energy of thought and logic, with not enough qualities of nurturing and flow that magic, that manifestation also needs. Pallas can also have you intellectualizing your emotions and all that kind of thing, which is of obviously the number one key cause of having that stagnant material in the subconscious that I spoke about earlier, stagnating the life force when we repress emotions and we're not really feeling our feelings, when we're just too stuck in the head about things and making stories about them. So, yes, while it is great it's so great to be able to tune into this elevated thinking function at this time, then don't forget about your feeling function. So, so important. She's actually very androgynous, Pallas Athena. And in myth, there is such a strong feeling of a strong woman being in a man's world. A strong woman being in a man's world. A strong woman acting like a man in many respects in a man's world. Certainly, like, she doesn't have much sympathy for her priestess, Medusa, when she finds out that she was raped by Poseidon in her temple. And we all know what happened to Medusa. So I'm feeling also that her presence here is also a reminder for that sense of compassion here, feminine compassion, and a reminder also to not, as I've already said, to not lose your ability to feel, to intuit, to dream, alongside, of course, the ability to structure, plan, and determine. Remember, the divine union, the meeting of the masculine and the feminine within you is exactly that, a meeting of the masculine and the feminine, the sun and the moon, and the consciousness and the subconscious, thinking and feeling. So it's all of it, bringing it all into play now in order to seed our manifestations for 2025. Beautiful invitation. Now, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, who is down here. And Saturn, therefore, is the ruler of the new moon because he's the ruler of Capricorn. And as we can see, it's in a sextile. So the new moon and Saturn are in a sextile together. Saturn's here at 14 degrees of Pisces. And the sextile here reinforces the themes of steady and grounded progress. So Pisces, Saturn's in the sign of Pisces. Pisces is the dreamer, the emotional one, the spiritual one, and the one who's connected to all that is, the one who is connected to unity consciousness. So Saturn being in Pisces, I feel, is asking us to, it's rather like the conjunction between the sun and the moon. It's a balancing of two very opposing forces because Saturn is a very logic, structured, rational sign. And therefore, so I feel this is asking us to balance our dreams, which is very Piscean, with discipline and to infuse our practical pursuits with this sense of emotional and spiritual integrity. So bringing our intentions into this also. Why am I doing this? What is it for? And overall, this theme of steady and grounded progress that's so Capricornian. Capricorn moves steady and slow, wants to win the race, wants to have everything in order as the Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn. Saturn is renowned for slow and steady. He rules discipline, boundaries, limits, also time, as well as karmic timing. So patience is key. Patience. This is another huge word for Capricorn and Saturn. It's always key when it comes to working with these energies. And I have to say that working with Saturn can oftentimes feel like what we want is just getting further away. It's really not coming. It's like, when is this coming? But honestly, Saturn has such a bad rap in general, traditionally known as a malefic, but Saturn is not about denying us things. It's about delaying them. And ultimately this gives us such an ability to reflect and to align ourselves so we are in the right energy. Saturn deals with karmic timing, right? So this is the energy that holds off on giving us what we want until the timing is just right, until our energy is aligned, until we're in the right place in ourselves in order to receive in a way that is productive and is in accordance with our divine plan, our divine blueprint. So if we got what we were after too soon, and who knows what that might look like ultimately, we never know. It's always a surprise. And if we got what we thought we wanted too soon, then, well, before we were in the correct energy, before we've learned our lessons, we've learned our karmic lessons, then clearly, we're going to end up messing it up, creating further bad karma for ourselves. And this obviously leads to a lot of regrets. So, as I've said, patience is key when Saturn is in play, just like Capricorn. When Capricorn is a heavy influence here, this is all about sticking things out for the long haul. It's not a quick thing. This is about really aligning to our mission and to our levels of integrity, our whys, our intentions. Now, as we see here, Saturn is also in a T square configuration. Here's Jupiter in Gemini, Jupiter at 13 degrees retrograde of Gemini, opposing Mercury in Sagittarius at 18 degrees of Sagittarius. And both of these planets are square into Saturn, square in Saturn. So Saturn then is the apex of the T square. And a T-square in general, which always consists of an opposition that then squares a further planet, a third planet, which acts as the apex. A T-square always introduces a tension. In this case, with Jupiter in Gemini, ruling the intellect and communication, along with Mercury, who also rules the same thing. This is a T-square that introduces a bit of intellectual tensions around how we are communicating. So this opposition here between Mercury and Jupiter, it creates like a mental tug of war. An opposition is always expressed before it's integrated. An opposition is always expressed as a tug of war feeling, whether that's internally or whether that is with you feeling more aligned with one side of the polarity and then projecting the other onto an external person or situation. But ultimately, it's a mental tug of war between, so Mercury's in Sagittarius, these broad, expansive ideas and a more detailed, a more detail-oriented, fact-driven perspective, which is Gemini. As I said, Mercury and Jupiter, they both tie to communication and thought. So this aspect in general feels like a battle between the big picture vision, Sag, and the practical data. And Jupiter here, he expands everything he touches. So this is overall, it's a lot of mental energy and a lot of opinionated energy as well with Sagittarius here. Sagittarius is very opinionated, has a lot of strong opinions that are led by faith and strong beliefs. However, meanwhile, on the opposite side of the fence, Gemini is so flexible, open, curious. This is an energy that plays devil's advocate almost as a natural reflex. You say one thing, the Gemini is looking at the other side. And this irritates both the Sagittarian pole and also Saturn, actually, no end. However, this is a tension that is also ripe for expansion through and out because challenges, as we know, they're always opportunities. So it feels here that what's the big picture vision that wants to come through, and how can we dance it into being? Gemini is very flexible, and it doesn't have a one way fits all mentality at all. Quite the opposite. It can change on a dime. But what makes this sacred is that it's underpinned by philosophy, underpinned by an intention that's yeah, where that feels very, I mean, Sagittarius is very spiritual, so a really strong foundation, a strong foundational intent that is brought into being in a very playful way that can change on a dime in accordance with the accuracy of the playing out, the creation of what wants to come through. I really love how astrology always gives us such a beautiful reminder to embrace challenges as opportunities. And actually, we already see a helping hand from this opposition between Mercury and Jupiter, since although both planets, they're actually in fall. In other words, they are both in signs that they are the least comfortable in. Jupiter is the least comfortable in Gemini, and Mercury is the least comfortable in Sagittarius. However, the beauty of this is that these signs are actually the ones that the other planet is the ruler of, if that makes sense. And so Sagittarius is naturally ruled by Jupiter, and Gemini is naturally ruled by Mercury. So this is called a mutual reception. And so what's really lovely is that it's clear, right, that even amidst the difficulties and perhaps the clunkiness, the potential awkwardness of this configuration, this opposition, these are two planets or aspects of the self, you might call them, that are really wanting to support each other and to really find the common ground and the best way forward. So there's a really beautiful intent here to move forward in a way that's most aligned with the soul. Now, Saturn as the apex of the T square. I mean, this is a planet that serves the opposition as the grounding force. Although, of course, they're squares, right? So Saturn does this through challenges. And so Saturn is basically demanding responsibility. Saturn's all about responsibility. So he's demanding that we take responsibility when, as we're communicating, whilst we're making the decisions. And I feel that what this energy wants to ensure is that we honor the balance. We really honor the balance of the energies of of this opposition. We neither oversimplify, which can be Gemini or Sagittarius, depending on which way you're looking at it, or overextend, which can be very Sagittarius and Jupiter. So overall, this is an aspect, this T square. It's a call to refine the ideas, ensure they're well structured, Saturn, and then align them with action that is practical. Practical. So in many ways, then, to sum up this configuration, this T square could wind up feeling restrictive, and be aware that tensions may arise from delays. As we know, Saturn's all about delays also, or miscommunications, because there is an awkwardness between this opposition. But nonetheless, this is an aspect that can bring about such valuable lessons about structure and focus. And it's also pushing us to communicate more clearly and balance the vision with the details. Yeah, and with the square and the opposition, just to integrate the lessons from any setbacks that may arise. Right now, what next? I'm going to quickly mention this trine between Neptune down here at 27 Pisces, Neptune is now direct, and Mars retrograde in Leo. Now, this is a nice harmonious aspect, and it's combining the retrograde, which is Mars, the very reflective, taking stock energy, with Neptune's visionary, creative energy. Neptune's in Pisces. So for me, this is encouraging taking some inspired action, which is Mars, towards emotional or spiritual endeavors, creative endeavors. Both Leo and Pisces are highly creative energies. They both love glamour as well. Yeah, that's showy energy, beauty, glamour, mystical or fantasy. Pisces is very fantastical, the mystic, and Leo loves to showcase, loves glamour also, Leo the lion. So this also feels like a really nice balance in energy to tap into alongside, the more mental and earthy realms of Pallas and Capricorn, and the very more potentially mind-oriented energies of Jupiter here and Mercury in Sag and in Gemini and Sag, respectively. Although do remember here that, so I said action-based, but Mars is retrograde. He's going to be retrograde until it's to the 23rd of February. So in this case, it's not, even though some beautiful plans are indeed, where am I? Indeed hatching with this beautiful trine, and it is to see what's cultivated, what wants to be cultivated through these energies. It's not necessarily to go in all gung-ho right now, or to, that energy of hitting the ground running, right? Let's go, let's do this now. It's not Mars represents action, but as it's retrograde, this is more of an energy of revisiting, So this could be revisiting old projects, redoing. And yeah, so kind of internalizing and yeah, making good any forms of creativity that is wanting to come through at this time. And for sure, when Mars goes direct from the 23rd of February, then the energy is ready to go. It's ready to hit that ground. And of course, this whole chart really supports this energy in general. I mean, the whole chart is incredibly supportive in and of itself, because this whole chart is all about taking the preparatory steps and making those strategic new beginnings, having the conversations, redoing, revisiting the steps. And so by the time Mars goes direct, then yeah, everything's all systems go, everything is all ready, and everything will be in that divine alignment, and it'll be right on time, as Saturn teaches us, only in divine timing. Now, finally, we've got Venus squaring Uranus. Venus in Aquarius, squaring Uranus in Taurus. And this is shaking things up a little bit in our love lives, our value systems, and our finances. So this aspect can bring some cool breakthroughs. So Uranus is all about breakthroughs, exciting changes, but and it might also make you rethink, reevaluate what or who, potentially who really matters to you right now. So you can, with this aspect, you could well see some unexpected twists. That's very Uranian, unexpected twists in your relationships, Venus. So that could be sudden breakups, could be sudden new connections or shifts in existing partnerships. Uh, so it could be anything. We never know. That's the surprise element of Uranus. And but it's not a steady energy, this, as we might well imagine. Things might feel a little bit all over the place emotionally. That also involves feelings swinging wildly. So yeah, this could really create some uncertainty, should we say, shall we say, in your romantic life, and you might feel torn between wanting to commit and yet needing freedom. So then, obviously, that creates a degree of restlessness, Uranian restlessness. Uranus is also all about breaking the rules. Uranus is the maverick. So it could also be the case that you might find it hard to stick to more traditional ideas of love. And around about this time could also be drawn to more unconventional relationships. Overall, though, this entire vibe is encouraging you to think about how much freedom you need in your connections and whether some adjustments are in order. Plus, how your finances, um, how your view of how your finances are run might impact your relationships. So this might be a business relationship matter. Uh, yeah, could be anything like that, really. On the upside, because this is something that brings through growth when we have to consider things that perhaps we'd not considered before. This can spark some super creative ideas on how you express love, affection, how you create new openings in the financial arenas of your life. So if you stay open and willing to communicate, so also taken into the messages that have come through via the T-square with Saturn, Mercury, and Jupiter, this can really inspire you also to dive into artistic projects. Venus is all about the arts and yeah, artistic projects that perhaps you might want to make money through, and that really reflect your current values in just new ways. The main takeaway of this aspect really is just to stay open and flexible, and also don't be afraid This is a key point. Don't be afraid to let go of anything that feels too rigid or outdated. So don't be afraid to let go of any systems in the arenas or ways of conducting your relationships or your finances. In particular, don't be afraid to let anything go that feels too rigid or outdated or that doesn't fit the expression of your true self that really wants to come through at this time. So as you move into 2025, the call is to really dig deep and to trust your feelings and your intuition and to let this be the guiding force that allows you to realign and to become in alignment with your highest will and your highest self. All right, my loves, that's all I've got for you for the Capricorn New Moon. Coming up is a brief rundown for all the 12 signs, but please do go for your rising sign and not your sun or your moon, because this way, the new moon and any planets that I discuss, namely Venus and Uranus, they're going to be in the right houses in your chart. So have an amazing new moon and wishing you all the best for the new year and seed some fabulous, fun-soaked, miraculous intentions for 2025. And that's when I'll see you next. Hello, Aries rising. So, this new moon is happening in your 10th house, which is all about career, your public image, and your big life goals. So, this is the perfect time to really think about what you want in your career and to feel into what really motivates you in your professional life. You might feel inspired to chase new job goals or to switch things up at work. And you might also have some chances to get recognized in your field and to boost your reputation. So, this may well be your moment to step into the spotlight. Now, Venus in Aquarius will be in your 11th house, squaring Uranus in Taurus in your 8th. And this aspect may create tension between your friendships and your deeper, your more intimate emotional connections, which may lead to unexpected changes in your social circles. But just embrace this moment as a chance to reassess who you surround yourself with and how those relationships impact your more intimate world. And just remember that building genuine connections, this is what really leads to fulfilling experiences. So happy new moon, Aries, and I'll see you next year. Hello, Taurus rising. So this new moon is shining in your 9th house, which is all about higher education, travel, and exploring new ideas. So this is a great chance to set your intentions for learning something new or expanding your horizons. You might feel pulled to travel, to study, or to dive into different beliefs. You might also be on the lookout for some deeper insights through education or philosophical pursuits, and these might change how you see the world. So think about opportunities for long distance travel or exciting collaborative projects that broaden your outlook. Venus in Aquarius will be in your 10th house, squaring Uranus in Taurus in your 1st. And this means that you may notice some fluctuations between your public image and your personal identity, which may lead to surprises in how you present yourself to others. Just view these moments as opportunities for authentic self-expression. And remember that staying true to who you really are will absolutely enhance your confidence and attract the right connections. So happy new moon, Taurus, and I'll see you next year. Hello, Gemini rising. So this new moon is in your 8th house, focusing on transformation, intimacy, and shared resources, and may well lead to some very, very deep insights. So this is absolutely a powerful moment for transformation in your relationships and also for your personal growth and your evolution. It's a great time to set intentions for healing or releasing past hurts. You may also find yourself wanting to deepen your emotional bonds with partners at this time, or perhaps even look into shared resources together, which then help you create a stronger connection together. This new moon might also prompt you to reevaluate financial agreements or investments, which then lead to more open conversations about shared assets. Now, Venus in Aquarius will be in your 9th house, squaring Uranus in Taurus in your 6th. And this means that you might face challenges in how you communicate about your beliefs, your daily routines, or your work life. So this is really an invitation to look at these shifts as opportunities to explore new ideas and to bring more creativity to your daily routines and your work. So really embrace the changes, as they can lead to fresh perspectives that enrich both your relationships and your routine. So happy new moon, Gemini, and I'll see you next year. Hello, Cancer rising. So this new moon is lighting up your 7th house, which is all about partnerships and one-on-one connections. So it's a great time to set intentions for forming new partnerships or improving the ones you already have. You'll definitely want to focus on achieving a balance in give and take within your relationships. And it's a great time to think about the boundaries in your relationships and how they affect your emotional well-being. You might also find yourself shifting focus towards signing contracts and making commitments with partners, whether these be business partners or romantic partners. Now, Venus in Aquarius will be in your 8th house, squaring Uranus in Taurus in your 11th. And this might mean that sudden changes in your financial agreements or your intimate world may arise, and these might impact your friendships and your social connections. However, the invitation is to see these shifts as just a means by which you can deepen your understanding of shared values. And just know that navigating these changes can really strengthen your bonds and enhance your emotional connections with others. So happy new moon, Cancer, and I'll see you next year. Hello, Leo rising. So this new moon is happening in your 6th house, which is all about health, daily routines, and work. So this makes the new moon a perfect chance to set some goals for your health and your well-being. You might feel motivated to adopt some healthier habits or to focus on some much needed self-care. You might also discover some new opportunities at work or see changes in your work environment. So it's also an ideal time to think about some ways to boost your job satisfaction and your efficiency. And since the 6th house also relates to service, you might also feel inspired to help others in new ways or get involved in community service projects. Now, Venus in Aquarius will be in your 9th house, squaring Uranus in Taurus in your 12th. And with this aspect, you may experience some shifts in your beliefs and in your views on spirituality that impact your subconscious or the hidden realms in your psyche. But the message is to use this as an opportunity to embrace your intuition and your creativity. And just know that trusting your inner voice can really lead to profound insights and meaningful transformations. So happy new moon, Leo, and I'll see you next year. Hello, Virgo rising. So this new moon is shining in your 5th house of creativity, romance, and self-expression. So you're very likely to feel inspired to kick off some new creative projects or hobbies that really bring you joy. So absolutely set some intentions for what you would love to create or express during this time. This new moon could also spark some new romantic opportunities, and you might find yourself seeking some fun and playful connections that keep things exciting. So definitely embrace any chances to showcase your talents and really let your creativity shine, as this is going to boost your confidence and your personal satisfaction no end. Now, Venus in Aquarius is going to be in your 10th house, squaring Uranus and Taurus in your 1st. And this aspect might well highlight some changes in how you engage with your career versus how you present yourself. But the message is to embrace these changes as a chance to align your professional path with your true self. And just know that authentic self-expression will really help you stand out and connect genuinely with others. So happy new moon, Virgo, and I'll see you next year. Hello, Libra rising. So this new moon is taking place in your 4th house of home, family, and emotional roots. So this is a great time to set intentions related to your home life and your family relationships. You might start thinking about moving, renovating, or creating a more supportive living space. You may also feel the need to dig into your emotional foundations a little bit and nurture the deeper connections with your family members or your loved ones. And don't forget to also take the opportunity for some introspection for yourself. So really think about what truly makes you feel secure and comfortable, both physically and emotionally. Now, Venus in Aquarius is going to be in your 5th house, squaring Uranus and Taurus in your 2nd. So expect unexpected changes in how you express love and pursue creative hobbies, particularly in relation to finances and your values. Now, while this may feel challenging, just view it as a chance to explore what truly brings you joy and then align it with your financial goals. And just know that balancing your passions with your responsibilities can really lead to more fulfilling experiences. So have a great new moon, Libra, and I'll see you next year. Hello, Scorpio rising. So this new moon is happening in your 3rd house of communication, learning, and local travel. So this is an awesome time to set intentions around how you communicate, whether that be writing, speaking, or even getting involved in local community activities. So there could be chances for local travel or just getting to know the neighbours better, which really helps you feel more connected to your community. You might also feel inspired to take new courses or dive into discussions that expand your knowledge and understanding of the world. Now, Venus in Aquarius will be in your 4th house, squaring Uranus and Taurus in your 11th. And this suggests that changes in your home life and family relationships might well influence your friendships and wider social circles. But the message is to embrace these shifts as they can really help you redefine your personal values. So open communication in these areas can just really lead to deeper connections and overall a stronger support network. So enjoy the new moon, Scorpio, and I'll see you next year. Hello, Sagittarius rising. So this new moon is in your 2nd house of personal values, finances, and self-worth. So this is really inviting you to think about financial stability and how you are valuing your skills. It's also a great time for budgeting and planning. You might also feel the urge to reassess what truly matters to you on a personal and a material level, which can lead to some eye-opening insights about your goals and desires. So at this time then, really focus on boosting your sense of self-worth and your confidence. And do remember that your value goes way beyond just material things. Now, Venus in Aquarius will be in your 3rd house, squaring Uranus and Taurus in your 8th. And this aspect may create tension in how you communicate and share ideas about shared resources or intimate matters. But just know that these challenges can lead to breakthroughs in understanding your emotional connections. So the message is to embrace honest conversations as they can really help to strengthen your partnerships and to foster deeper emotional intimacy. So happy new moon, Sagittarius, and I'll see you next year. Hello, Capricorn rising. So this new moon is happening in your 1st house of self, identity, and personal goals. So overall, it's a very powerful time to set intentions about who you are and how you show up in the world. So with this said, you might feel inspired to make some big changes in your appearance or your lifestyle to align more with your true self. It's definitely a great call to focus on self-improvement and to take initiatives that really encourage growth in all areas of your life. Now, Venus in Aquarius will be in your 2nd house, squaring Uranus and Taurus in your 7th. And the message is to look for fluctuations in your values regarding personal finances and relationship dynamics. This is a great opportunity to really reassess what truly matters to you in your partnerships. So embrace flexibility and creativity in these areas, as this can really enhance both your sense of self-worth and your connections with others. So have a great new moon, Capricorn, and I'll see you next year. Hello, Aquarius rising. So this new moon is taking place in your 12th house of the subconscious, spirituality and hidden things. So it's really encouraging you to dive deep into introspection and to explore your inner world. So you might want to set intentions for spiritual growth or healing practices at this time. And it's also a moment to release old patterns and emotional baggage. And this, of course, can help you feel really renewed and rejuvenated. So the message is to engage in creative activities, also to stir your imagination and your intuition. And all of this opens the door for future inspiration. Now, Venus in Aquarius will be in your first house, squaring Uranus in Taurus in your sixth. And this aspect may highlight shifts in how you express yourself and how you approach your daily work and routines. So these changes can be an opportunity to align your authentic self with your work-life balance. So the invitation is to embrace this chance to redefine the connection between who you are and how you manage your daily activities. And this, of course, will lead to more fulfillment and to more creativity in your life. So happy new moon, Aquarius, and I'll see you next year. Hello, Pisces rising. So this new moon is shining in your 11th house of friendships, social circles, and personal goals. So it's a great time to set intentions for making new friends or deepening existing connections within your social circles. You might feel motivated then to chase your goals and aspirations with the support of those who think like you. So in this way, then, collaborating with others or engaging in group activities could well be a big focus right now. There's also a chance you might feel inspired to get more involved in community efforts or social causes, all of which contribute to shared dreams and ideals. Now, Venus in Aquarius will be in your 10th house, squaring Uranus in Taurus in your 5th. And with this aspect, you might notice some tension between your professional ambitions and your creative expression or your romantic interests. So use this time to explore how to merge your career goals with your desire for fun and spontaneity. By finding a balance between these areas, you can infuse your work with creativity, leading to, as we know, a more satisfying and fulfilling life. So happy new moon, Pisces, and I'll see you in 2025.